I'm Alfonsetti. I'm with Prison Fellowship, and I'm going to give a brief overview of who Prison Fellowship is so that way you can kind of see where we're coming from when we talk about occupational licensing and why it is so important to Michigan. So in Prison for a Purpose, we were started in 1976 by Chuck Colson, formerly of the Nixon administration, who came out of prison and said that the church needs to be doing more and we need to be helping those behind bars and those coming home from prison. And so we're hitting almost that 50-year mark and really have taken Chuck's vision and mission to heart in this next year. So our mission is to restore those affected by crime and incarceration. And our vision is to see all affected by crime reconciled to God, their families, and their communities. One way we do that is behind bars. We're currently in about 5 or 6 Michigan correctional facilities. Now, we do not ask for any funding to do this work. We just ask for the time and the space to bring in our volunteers. And we do this through our Prison Fellowship Academy, which is a year-long program usually that has a Christian worldview, but anyone is welcome to apply to the program, and tries to just help and heal men and women behind bars so that way they can come home and be rehabilitated, as well as even if they are behind bars for life, that they can become agents of change while in that community as well. Another way that we try to heal crime and incarceration is through our Angel Tree. You'll probably see a lot of Angel Tree promotion around Christmas time. This is how Angel Tree originally started, as a way to benefit children who have an incarcerated parent. Now, we know that the cycles of incarceration happen from generation to generation. This is one of the ways Prison Fellowship tries to address this, is through camping, sports camps, parent days, and the First Chance Network. So we look at this as our first chance to really break those cycles of incarceration, and ensuring that these Angel Tree kids, which are kids who have incarcerated parents, have an opportunity to come alongside with other children and be ministered through, as our other programs are, as everything's to a biblical worldview, and find that kind of solace together, as well as their caretakers can get support that they need for caring for these children as well. And what I get to do is I get to advocate for justice reform. And so part of the way that we do that is through our Second Chance Month, which is every April. We advocate to bring awareness to the barriers that exist for people returning home, and then advancing justice that restores, which is kind of 3 main buckets that I work in, which is second chances, constructive corrections culture, and proportional punishment. So we really look at policies with not only a biblical worldview, but how does it fit into those kind of 3 main buckets of how can we impact good change, not just through policy, but also through culture. So a little bit of background about occupational licensing and how that impacts incarcerated population or people with a criminal background. So currently, these are returning home rates. So our national incarcerated population has roughly 95% of the current incarcerated population will reintegrate back into society. In Michigan specifically, we're right around roughly 86% of the incarcerated population in Michigan will reintegrate back into society, and a majority of them will be coming back to Michigan communities as well. And now our unemployment rates, as we kind of tapped on, workforce development is kind of the overarching theme of this as well. Formerly incarcerated individuals, over 93% between the ages of 25 and 44, so we're looking at that prime working age, are unemployed or actively looking for a job. Currently in Michigan, we are at a 5.5% unemployment rate. And some interesting facts. So there are currently over 15,000 legal barriers preventing a person with a criminal record from obtaining a license. And today, 1 in 4 jobs requires a license. Now, these are national numbers. I just always want to put that out there. These aren't Michigan specific, but just to kind of give you a nice frame of mind of where occupational licensing is. About 50% of formerly incarcerated individuals make no reported income first or fourth year after release. So we're not just talking about that reentry space. We're talking about fully reintegrating 4 years post-release, that they are still struggling to find a good, safe part of income. And the unemployment rate is nearly 5 times higher for formerly incarcerated individuals, as you kind of saw in that background. And then our position. So I won't read this quote, but just basically one of the things that we really try to focus on is making sure that the occupational license that somebody's trying to obtain is not hindering public safety, but is also really focused on, have they been rehabilitated? Have they done the work? Were they great on parole? And looking at those different factors and making sure that we are not doing any blanket mandates that are harming as well as eliminating a group of people from being able to access the workforce, to pay taxes, to contribute to their community, to be productive members of society, which is ultimately our goal when anyone is returning home from prison or anybody who's been involved in crime. And kind of the role of government and some balance of powers. So the state legislature should be responsible for identifying where restrictions are necessary, but there should be structured evaluation, creating a factoring test to assess the direct relationship between the offense committed and responsibilities, as well as an occupational proof of rehabilitation. Informed policy development. This should be done through making sure that we have subject matter experts like Jarrett and Deeb, as well as people who have been impacted. Agency empowerment. Agencies should be following what the legislation says and meets the legislative guidance. We know that there can be a lot of issues that I've experienced in working in government affairs where we see an agency take legislative intent and twist it to not what was actually supposed to happen. So we want to ensure that agencies are following those guidelines clear. And then transparency and accountability. This is huge. We want to make sure that there are reporting requirements. We want to ensure that, that there's a reason for denial. Are there demographics being impacted? So that way we can kind of figure out that reason. I actually just had one of our justice ambassador specialists who helps with our grassroots network. She sent me one of our new justice ambassadors a story about how she has struggled to get an occupational license because she has a criminal background. She was also denied being able to be a DoorDash food deliverer because of her background check. So, we're missing out on this opportunity to really tap into a workforce that wants to work, that really wants to contribute to society. And many of them who have had that occupational training or have begun that training behind bars, that they can actually be able to utilize it when they return home. And there's my information. I also have a one-pager up at the top or up at the table. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them.